is smoke, there is fire.
Hello friends, it has been a long time since we've chatted about garden stuff, and so many things have happened. We've had our first harvest of peas. Unfortunately, since harvesting the peas, it got really hot. I haven't put off any new peas, so we did go ahead and pull those out.
A heart-shaped tree standing in between human nature and the nature we see. Wouldn't you know it now? Life's got a funny way of showing us how. I see you standing there listening in the leaves, looking down, shining on me, trying to show me how. Just takes a while, you should know this by now. Until you learn to love yourself, the door is locked to someone else.
I'm just as damaged as you are, scattered to pieces with you gone.
Without the dark there is no light, but don't give the ghost an inch tonight.
I saw the signs you were leaving, but I didn't wanna believe it.
This could be so easy if you could see it through my eyes.
We have really struggled. When we left you guys in the last episode, we were talking about issues with slugs. Yeah. I'll go ahead and put in a little bit of the footage of where we were when we talked to you guys last. Happy to report that the slugs do definitely like the beer. We will save you the grossness of seeing it, but we have caught so many little guys, giant guys, so that makes me very happy. It means they're not in the gardens now, but I am a little shocked by the amount that we're finding. We did not have this problem last year with our garden, so I'm not sure why we have so many. But so far the slugs have done a lot of damage to our zucchini and to our spaghetti squash. Thankfully now I think we are finally getting some zucchini and some spaghetti squash, so that makes me happy. And we were having so much success with our butternut squash and our pumpkin, and sadly last night I realized that we had one butternut squash that had been doing really well is now shriveling up, and unfortunately our one pumpkin that was doing so great is shriveled and dying, and we had to cut off several leaves from the pumpkin plant because of powdery mildew. So we do still have 3 pumpkins on that plant, so I'm hopeful that they'll pull through and thrive. But you know, gardener's mistake, we just planted too many big squash plants in that small area, and they weren't getting enough circulation, and they were just too humid, and so that's what happened. You know, next year's a new year, we'll try over. We still have time this year. We could still harvest pumpkins and squash. Our acorn squash seems to be doing really good. There are 3 squash on her right now. Our beans are getting taller. We don't really have anything on the plant as far as fruit yet. But our tomatoes are thriving, as well as all of our herbs, and we have one jalapeno, and I'm so excited. I was about ready to give up on that plant, didn't think we would get anything, and it pulled through. And I'm reminded of something my friend said the other day. She was like, you know, don't give up on your plants. And so I'm choosing not to give up on the jalapeno, and I'm choosing not to give up on the squash and the pumpkin. I did get very emotional about them last night and started to cry. It has been so long, I'm not going to put in all of the footage that I had recorded. I will put in a little bit of the footage that I had recorded in June. And then earlier this month, we have made some changes in the yard, so I'll go ahead and show you that. Redid this whole area. The rocks had kind of started to fall down, and we had gotten a lot of grass growing up in our phlox, and so we ripped all of that out. A lot of the irises and lilies were dead as well, and so we decided to take those out, and we replanted the ones that were doing well, fixed the rock wall, and just kind of moved things around. We also moved some of our peonies because they were all clumped together, so we've kind of moved them. And we actually did take out our big oregano plant, so we harvested a bunch of it to dry, to turn into dried oregano, and then we repotted some into this pot over here that we'll put back into the ground somewhere.
I wish I was a slave to an age-old trade, like riding around on rail cars and working long days. Lord, have mercy on my rough and rowdy ways. Lord, have mercy on my rough and rowdy ways. Call it one drink too many, call it pride of a man.
All of our squashes are doing good. This one is the butternut, the acorn, and our pumpkin is just really going to town, starting to climb up the trellis. And he's holding on. I was just watering the squash, and this giant worm started crawling out from the dirt. He's huge. Oh my gosh. I can't believe how big he is. Oh. Why are critters so creepy and so fascinating all at the same time, guys? Look, he's just going right back into the dirt. Ah! And he's gone. Oh my gosh. So crazy.
I am on my way, I am on my way. I am on my way back to where I started.
So, if you saw on the last episode, you saw Jillian plant cilantro right here where we had originally planted the kale. Well, after doing so, we told my husband that we did that since nothing came in the kale, and he laughed and he's like, oh, well, I had already planted sunflowers in there. I'm like, oh. So you can see that the cilantro is not coming up, but we do have sunflowers. So something is growing. These are the places I will always go. Little beet. It is a beet. This morning, Jillian harvested a couple of her carrots as well as one beet. We're gonna have some more beets soon. And we pulled one of our little Juliet Romas off of the plant. We have 2 early girl tomatoes that are gonna be ready probably in the next day, and a couple more Juliet Romas. And fun fact, so the Juliet Romas are not the same size as regular Roma tomatoes. They're kind of referred to as mini Romas because they're slightly smaller than a regular Roma, but bigger than a cherry tomato. So we're gonna have lots of those soon. So I will just kind of give you a little kind of 360 view of the gardens as they are. This morning, my husband and I also cut off the tops of the garlic because they were starting to flower. And so now all of the energy can be put into making the bulbs of the garlic bigger. And as of right now, we have 2 of each of the leaves that are turning brown. Rule of thumb is you wait until you have 4 of them before you harvest them. But yeah, I will show you the size of the zucchini. It has grown huge. I will show you the squash. They are also huge. I'll give you a quick overview of this garden, and I'll show you how tall the potatoes are and all of the grapes. So.
Where there's smoke, there is fire. Fan the flames till the embers burn brighter, igniting again what I'm feeling inside. You're my light in the dark, blind without you. I'm not willing to lose you. I'm not willing to say goodbye. Bye. Oh, I'm so deep they stretch for millions of miles. I'll cross any divide, not a flicker of doubt. No danger I wouldn't dare to be with you. I'm not willing to lose you. I'm not willing to say goodbye. I'm not willing to lose you.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this episode of Homeschool Garden. And for sharing in our successes and our tragedies. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and the bell to be notified anytime we have new content. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.